Hello everyone, welcome back to your channel. If you're visiting the channel for a very first time, then this is my small introduction. I'm thankful for each and every member because it's just you and only you who is helping me and this channel to grow. I thoroughly enjoy learning and sharing Salesforce knowledge with you. Please keep watching, sharing and motivating others to subscribe to your channel. Let's start with today's topic. So today we are going to start with our dynamic query. And when we say the dynamic query is sometimes we may have seen in the projects, or you may have the seen in the discussion over these the other platforms, like the other sources available on the Google search. So the purpose of the dynamic query, I'm going to start with let's say you have the requirement. For example, I am writing this query. So this will obviously they give the result to us. But let's say when we are writing our program and we are not sure about, or I should say, we do not, every time we do not need these fields in our query. So just for example, let's say there is a condition. I'm using if else in my code. I will show you, everything, but I'm just trying to create a picture in your mind. Let's say I'm using an if else statement. Now on the if statement, let's say my if condition is true. So I need, the the parent ID, billing street, right? In the else statement, let's say I need some other, the field like rating, description. So instead of the writing the the query again and again, or sometimes you can say that when you want the user who is using your application to to create the filter, and based on the and based on the the fields chosen by the user, you want to return a result, right? So for example, just for example, let's say I am using an application here. This is my application, okay, and I have the option here to see the results based on the fields I will select. Now for example, I am selecting if I'm the writing a very this kind of the query here. So the user will see a fixed responses like we have seen here. Fixed responses means the fixed field values, ID, name, font. But my requirement is different. Let's say users, you have given the option that, okay, if you want to see the filtered search, or if you want to see the result based on your requirement, if you want to see the name, you can select the name field, and it will be it will be shown here. Just for example, if the user selected the name here, he or she will be seeing the name here. If user selected phone, not the name, so he should see the phone, right? But user, when I say the user, your customer is not a developer, you do not give the the permission to change in a code. So you write the dynamic query in such a way that it helps the the user to select the field, and based on that you show the result to the customer. Let me show you how. And so what we will do is we will see the 2-3 examples. Each example will have a bit of the advanced label, so that will be easy for you to understand, or to to create the uh, deeper understanding with the dynamic query. So let's say you want to write a very simple query, this, and you have seen the result. Okay, so such queries are static. I mean, this is a static query. Correct. And if your requirement changes, then it do not have the that sort of the flexibility where a user can change based on the condition, based on the requirement, right? So what we will do, we will create a dynamic query. Okay, so let's create the dynamic query. I am using the anonymous code block here. So dynamic query, for a dynamic query, you need to create a list, and that list I'm creating of the S object, because it will be this list will be storing the data from here. I mean, if you are getting confused with the list, then for now just take it like it is the container. It's like the bucket where you are going to store the data which you are getting in from the query. Okay, I mean, here you are getting this data, right? So all these the data will be stored in a list. Okay, so we will create the list. And what kind of like we have the jar, each jar have the the different purpose. Like this jar will be the is an airtight jar, and the material which require the protection from the air should be kept in a airtight jar. You have the vessels for the juices. You have the vessels for the other purposes. The same way, I am creating a jar, a container of S object type. That means Salesforce object type. Okay, this the you will see in the other day discussions. This is the name I'm giving. So I have created my list. Okay, now when I created my list, the next step is I am creating variable of type string, where I will be using my field to use in the query. Okay, now string query, and whatever is static, like this is the keyword select, this will not change. Okay, if you want, I mean, whatever you want exactly to be printed, so you will mention here. Comma is also something which you require after every field. So this section I require. Now, let's say I also require name here. So select ID comma name. This will be exactly the same. Now I am changing the the phone here. I mean, maybe I can use the phone. I can use any other field. So this is the the string I have created. Now this field one, the variable I have to use in my query. So what I will do, I will put a plus and field one, then plus again what I need from account. So first is you should give a space because that is the required. Otherwise, I will show you if you will not give the space, what will be the result. And then your line terminator. Okay. Now, just to in case if you are working with the dynamic query and you are you are getting the error or your query is not working. So what you do, you will put a debug statement, query formation, to check what query formed. Debugging also we have the cover in the in the the next sessions we have to cover. So debugging is also is something which we have to cover in detail. Now what we need to do is we will check the the query formation. So let's see first the what sort of the the query formation I'm getting. Am I getting this kind of the result or there is some problem? Okay. Debug only. Select ID. See, there is a problem, that is after the name and the there is no comma. So this will be treated as a the some the field name phone which is wrong. So let me correct it and execute. Okay, looks similar. So now let's proceed with our next step. So our query is correct now. Now what I will do, I have to store the results, right? So I created the container here. I have to store the result, whatever the this kind of the result I will see. I have to store somewhere, that then only I will see. So I'm storing the result and database dot query. When you the just put up the query, you get the, and because I am using the variable query, I mean you can use any other variable name and so replace it with if you are using some other variable name, so just replace, I mean this let me take it made query form. Okay, so just replace it with query form. I mean whatever the variable you will take, you have to put here. Okay, now let's see our okay, why I'm getting the error, because I have used this in, now it will not give the error. See, I'm getting the result here. I'm getting the result here. Okay, the name and everything, right? And the query you can see here. So let me put this piece of code. Dynamic query for ever query. Okay, now let's take the second example. Now what the second example I'm going to take is I am going to add one more field here. Okay, so like we have the phone here, I'm going to take the one more field. For example, let's take industry. Okay, so string field to industry. Okay, now in the same query, like I have added this thing, so this I will be, after the plus, what I need to do, I need to first put a, I mean, if I have to, the add the industry, what I need to do, I need to add the comma and the field. So what I will be doing is after the field one, I will be adding the comma here. Okay. Now after this, the comma, I need to add okay, just a simple thing. Let me show you. Same thing. I added a comma here because that need to be in the that need to separate the the two field names and the or you can say the API. Okay. Now let's execute or let's see first our query, what query form. Okay. Unaccepted token query form. Field to where I have changed. Let me first, if I have maybe I have done some sort of unaccepted made token query. Select ID name, then I have the comma here, then this value, then I have on the comma separated, then oh okay, this is the problem. I have not mentioned I was thinking that there's some there's some problem with the copy pasting, so I missed the plus sign. Now let's see. Select ID, name, phone, industry from account. Query is correct. Same query I'm getting. Okay. Now getting the I mean the result. Okay. So this way you can add more of your I mean the fields. Okay. Let me add the query here. Dynamic query with more than one fields. Now we will see one, the example where I said that, the in the how to use it, with the if else. So we'll try to, create one scenario. I mean, just for our understanding, so that, you will be able to see and understand that, the how we use the dynamic query in our program, or in our, in our the scenarios, how we can use it. So let's say I will use the, some piece of the code again from here, but I need to create some scenario. So I'm creating a Boolean type of the variable with the name check, and by default I'm assigning the value as true. This value you can change to see the result. Now, if check equal true, you are checking, the if condition. Now, what you will do then, if if condition is satisfied, then you will be using the phone and industry. Okay, so now let's see what query you are forming, or whether your the condition is getting satisfied and it is going inside your the if statement or not. Okay, getting the same query. Now let's say this is my if statement. Okay, and I should see the result with the phone and industry. Now, if if I don't want to let's say my my if statement is not true, then what? Then I have to use some other the fields. For example, I can take here. I can take the rating here. I can take the. Okay, so let's take the rating and description. Okay, so now my query should be the working for these two the field if my condition is not satisfied. See, so right now I have seen for the true, that means my condition is true. Or let me show you. Right now my condition is true. Select ID, name, phone, industry, and I'm seeing the result of dynamic query. Okay, now let's say I change my requirement. I change here so that my else statement can be executed. Select ID, name, rating, description. Rating and description is the else statement, and I'm getting the result here. Okay, so this is the example number 3rd. If else. Okay, Okay. Now we have the next topic, that is our relationship query. So before going to the relationship query, the one more thing which you have to I mean, this is the kind of the example where you will be understanding the use of the dynamic query. The purpose of the dynamic query, you will see the most of the utilization is in the product based company, because there's a team, there's a one specific team which develop the product, not specific to any customer. They develop the entire functionality, and they develop the one of the the product, and then that the product is we pass uh, to the implementation teams. Now implementation teams work for a specific customers. So let's say for example, the Mahindra is satisfied with the with these fields to be used in the code, but Tata is not the looking for these fields. So what the implementation team will do, they will not do any changes in the code, because if they are going to do the changes in the code, again that will be the very big task, cost a costly and a time consuming task. So the product team develop the product in such a way that it will be very easy for the implementation team, by just changing the very I mean, I should say very minor or specific changes they need to do, and the code will work entirely for this specific customer. So during the KT, they will tell the implementation team that this piece of code is working for this particular purpose. And let's say if your the customer is looking for the I mean such the requirement where they are looking for any field, you can simply change the field API or field name here, and your code will work exactly the same. Now this is the one of the example I have shared to you. uh, you will the whenever you will see or whenever you will interact with the product team, the developers, they always do this practice of making the code more and more customizable. That means just by simply there are very minor changes, like putting the field I mean the field API or the name here, you can to make the query change entire the result of the query change. So that's why we prefer to use the code, or I should say to make the code such a way where more the static things should not be the use at a very vital level. uh, there's a one more the technology may I should say. uh, you will when you will Google it, you will see that when there's a field set. So that's a combination of the field where you create it and you use it in your code. So I will I will be covering those field set topic, like, and will show you how it works. We have the So we have the relationship query. Now, when we say relationship query, the name itself defines the relationship between the objects. Now, the that could be between the standard objects, or standard or custom object, or standard custom object. We all have in the relationship, we all have one parent and one child. So we have the two types of the relationship query here: parent to child, and child to parent. Now, when I say the parent to child and the child to parent, that means, for example, just to take the example of the parent to child. This means that you are trying to get the data of a child object based on the parent. Let's understand with the query here. So I have the object account. This is the parent. Now I am writing my parent to child query. So I am going to write my child query here. And I'm getting the result. What I have done, I will explain you. But see the pattern here. This ID you are seeing is of the account 001. That is the the object ID of the account. And if you see here, this is the 006, that is the opportunity. So what it is doing is, for this particular account, it is showing all of your opportunities. That means all of the opportunities associated with a account. For the parent account, all of your opportunity ID you are seeing here. Like we have this parent account and we have the child opportunity only one. Okay. Now let's see if I remove, if I add one more field here. So as you see, for this particular account, we have the one opportunity with this ID and this name. Correct? So if you have to, add any field from the account, you can add it by simply putting the field name or API and put comma. So for this particular, the account, we don't have any opportunity. So let us do one thing. Let us create the, the opportunity. Let us do it this way. So I am going to create the opportunity for this particular, the account, which do not have any opportunity, zero opportunity. And let us refresh this grid. Okay. So your based on your parent, you want to see your child object data. Okay. Now let's say, because we have the other objects as well, where we have the the relationship with the account. So let's say you want to see the account data as well. sorry, the context data as well. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the zero contact. If I'm adding it, and just refresh the grid, you should see the new contact here. Correct. So this way you can write your parent to child. What you are doing is, based on your account, your parent, that is the account here, you are trying to see all the child objects which you are querying in the query, and just in front of that, the parent, you are seeing the child object data which you are querying here. Like we have the query, the contacts here, then the opportunity here. Now let's say if you have the custom object, okay. So what you have to do, you have to, because the custom object will have the API like underscore C. So here, just like, for example, let me see if I have the custom object, any custom object here, or let me create. Okay. So we have the custom object, and custom object API name is this. Okay. So let us, the first write the very simple the query. No data, but if we will create data, then it will be shown to you. No problem. Let me, the create. Tab. We forgot to create the tab while creation of the custom object. Now we have the custom object here, and let's create one data. And let's refresh our grid. I have the data here. Okay. And if I, the see the I have the account ID as well. Okay, this is a very simple, the query for the custom object. Now I want this query to be used in my parent to child. I mean, this same query, I need that this in this query I can, like I have added the context here, I can add this particular query as well. So let me first paste it here. And I'm changing the C with R. See, my query is working. It is showing the custom object. Now, every time, whenever you have the the custom object, and that is that is in relationship, so you have to change the C with R. R, the denotes relationship. Now, for for the standard and custom object, both, okay, you can write 20 parent to child query. Okay, and if you want to make a kind of the relationship, like for example, if I say I will show you with the with the example of the child to parent. So then I will explain you what I'm trying to say with the parent to, with the terms of the relationship. It will be easy for you. This is your parent to child query. Now we are going to talk about the child to parent. Now child to parent means you have the child object, and now from the child prospect you need the data of your parent, like select ID, okay, account.id from opportunity, right? This is your child, and based on the child you want to see your parent data. Correct? Now let's say the same example, you need to if you are making a relationship, right, and you want to see the for example, you want to see your parent object, which is a custom object here. Then, as I mentioned in this example, where you have the underscore C, you have to replace with R. So you will put the custom object API and replace C with R, and your query will work. Okay. Now, such for the child to parent, for a standard object, you have the flexibility to write 35, but for the custom object, you have the flexibility to write up to 25 queries. Now, one more thing which I was talking about, that how what kind of the access label you can go up to. So for the child to parent, you can go up to 3 label. Example. So here I have the account dot ID. Okay, let me the write in this way. So one label one label is opportunity. Okay, then the another label is account, then I'm entering into the third label, that is, the owner, which is, the bringing the the user data, and there we have, the field name. I mean, with the name as name. Okay. So like here we have, and the access label, what we are maintaining is 1, 2, and 3. But same, if you try to, to go with the parent to child, you can go up to 1 label towards downward. Nothing more than this.